If you want to grow on Instagram or grow a following in general on social media, this is going to be the show for you. I got a special guest on here. We go way back on social media, and I can't wait for him to share his story and bring a ton of value to you guys tonight. But before we get started, I want to make sure all systems are go on Facebook, on YouTube. Welcome. Every Monday we show up here and we talk about live streaming. We talk about growing your digital presence. We talk about tech and equipment. So I want to welcome all of you all that show up here every single Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let me know in the chat that you're watching, where you're watching from, all that good stuff before we get started so I can make sure that I shout you guys out. And as you are here, you will definitely, if you have to leave early, you're going to want to plan on watching the replay. I already asked my guests, I said, how much time do you have? Because we go about an hour, but I asked them if we could probably push that toward the 90-minute mark, because part of it is me catching up with him in a public setting. And the other part is because there's just going to be so much information. I know you guys are going to be able to take away some information and actually apply it and use it. Shout out to MelonApp. They make this happen every single Monday. MelonApp.live. Let me make sure I get them on the screen here. I don't even have my show notes. I was talking to my guest before we went live, and I didn't even grab my little edit thing for what the show title is. So I'm going to do that in a second here. But shout out to MelonApp, because I always have them ready to go. They make this possible. I'm partnered with them to go live here on Mondays, and we really take this time to help you. And that's what I love about doing live streams. I've been on this live stream thing for years now, and it's not new to me to turn on the camera, turn on the mics, turn on the lights, and go live and teach what it is that I know. So shout out to MelonApp. If you guys haven't checked them out, go to melonapp.live to get started live streaming. We talked about this the other week, how important it is to start live streaming. So make sure that you check out their platform. That's what I'm using right now. Easy to use, web-based. Just log in from any computer. And if you watched the new Apple event today, Apple is really changing the game with some of their laptops here, the Mac Minis. You can go live from any device, Mac or PC. Big PC fan as well, but definitely check out melonapp.live. I saw Jay on Facebook a little earlier here. Good to see Jay. Uri, I hope I said the name right. Emmanuel's always here. Good to see you. Annette's here. Bernade's here. Is that CJ's here? So you guys showed up early and on time today. That's what I like. That's what I like. All right. Now, I'm excited for tonight, if you can't tell already. So I got a special guest here. I'm going to let him introduce himself. But when I tell you guys to take notes, I promise you're going to want to take notes for this one, especially if you want to grow on Instagram. I'm going to get into a little bit about me and my special guest's relationship and kind of where we met and kind of what he's doing now. And I want you guys to really pay attention to the fact that you got to do what works for you. Okay. And I've talked about that, especially those people that are in my mastermind community. We focus on not having, you don't need every platform to win at this game of social and digital. Okay. You don't need every single platform. You just need the one that works for you and your audience. So we're going to talk about that tonight. So without further ado, my guy is here, Mr. George Pitts. Monetize everything. George, I had to rock a little green just for you, some little money green tonight. Lights and everything, sir. Good to see you, George. Good to see you,
too,
man.
It's been a minute.
It's been a minute. Introduce yourself, George, to the people. Let them know who you are, what you do, and then we going into it, because I'm excited to have you here.
Absolutely, man. So first of all, thank you guys. Thank you, Monte, for bringing me on. And shout out to everybody that's watching this broadcast, whether it's live or replay. A little bit about me. My name is George Pitts. I'm an online business strategist. What I do is I teach coaches, content creators, and those in the 9-to-5 how to turn their knowledge into profits by showing them how to take what it is that they know and turn those into profitable digital products. products such as courses, webinars, books, even speaking engagements, showing them how to do it the right way, the organic way, without spending tons of money on ads, and building an online digital empire. So I'm really, really excited about this. Been doing this now, gosh, Monte, I think since 2015, 2016 is we met around the time that I started. So, that's what I've been doing now for the last few years. I enjoy just helping people really turn the things that they're passionate about, the things that they're knowledgeable about, into something that becomes, in a lot of cases, their full-time income streams, and allow them to not only start making a lot of money, but showing them how to grow their money, build wealth, and literally build multiple streams of income right here online. So really excited to be here today. I think you might be muted.
Oh, I'm over here hitting the buttons. I had to fix something over here. Um, I'm looking at, I see Nikki's here, Renee's here, my cousin Renetta's here, Galen's here, Daniel's here. All right, I think I got all the shout outs out the way. All right, time to get into this, y'all. All that preliminary stuff. Trying to get into this. All right, I got all my buttons corrected and get my how to grow fast. We ready to go. I ain't paying attention to no technicals tonight, y'all, because I promise you, if you don't have a notebook, you're going to miss out on a masterclass from George right now. All right. Me and George go back to the Periscope days. Like, George is one of those guys where you meet someone online and you just kind of follow their content. Then you kind of just get connected. Y'all know how it is in these circles out here. But then you actually become friends past social media. And that's kind of what me and George are. We got a chance to meet in person back at FinCon. When was FinCon that we met? 2018?
2018, yeah.
2018 in DC. So it was cool to actually like meet your digital friend in person and actually like see them, right? And so me and George go back, like he said, like that 2015, 2016 time frame. And we were both on Periscope. You guys have heard me talk about, a lot of my start came on Periscope. George, did you start on Periscope or did you start somewhere before that? What kind of got you into this video aspect of getting out there?
Man, it's really by accident. I started on Periscope, but I had actually went to a Friendsgiving November of 2015, I want to say. And so, for what a Friendsgiving is, you get together with friends like the week or so before Thanksgiving and you have a Friendsgiving. You do a meal, everybody does it. So we were frying a turkey, and one of the guys that was there was like, "Hey, George, can you hold my phone and just video us as we lower this turkey in here?" I was like, yeah. I thought we were like recording it. And like, I'm seeing all these people like comment and like all these hearts going up. I was like, what is this? He said, "Oh, we're on Periscope. We're live." And I was like, "What's Periscope?" And he's like, "Oh man, it's this cool app. It teaches you. I mean, like you can go and watch people from all over the country, or you could broadcast, and people all over the country can tune into your broadcast from everywhere." And I was like, "That's the coolest thing in the world." And so that's kind of how I got into it. Was I got fascinated with it, so I ended up downloading it right after I gave him his phone back, and I just was kind of a viewer for about 3 months straight. I didn't do any lives, and then I finally decided to go live. And like all of a sudden, like people started showing up, and I started getting kind of addicted to it and started doing it consistently, and that's kind of how it got started for me.
Yeah, that's pretty cool because I kind of when I saw Periscope the same way, a buddy of mine, he was using it and using it and using it. I'm like, what is that? And he's like, yeah, I'm on Periscope. So it's like, okay, kind of sparked the bug to kind of get on this video app, and it really helped. I know it helped me gain a following, gain an audience, just talking about things that I talked about. And I think when I started following you on Periscope, you were talking about, I think you're talking about like some eBay stuff and just starting businesses. And like, I could really tell that your content was focused toward encouraging people to monetize their knowledge too. Like you weren't like telling them to go create all this crazy stuff. It was like, no, just monetize what it is that you know. And now I kind of know you as the monetize everything guy. So for Periscope, it significantly helped you grow an audience, would you say?
Big time. I mean, that's where that was where it all started, man. And once I kind of started there, it just continued to build. And Periscope was just my jam. I had no interest in Facebook, no interest in Instagram, Twitter, any of that stuff. And like I said, I just stayed on Periscope, built my audience, built my brand, and literally it just took off right there on Periscope.
Yeah. And then Periscope shuts down on us.
Yeah.
The place where we get comfortable, the place
Yep.
where we build our audience,
Yep.
the place where people know where to find us, the place where people could go back and watch our replays, it all goes away. I don't know how many of y'all in the chat have spent a lot of time working on a particular platform or in a particular area, and then it goes away and you feel like you have to start over again.
Right.
How did the shutdown of Periscope affect you as a online business person?
It didn't affect me as much because I had already started migrating to other platforms. So when I went to FinCon was a huge eye opener because when everybody was networking, you were there. That's where we met, and we were introducing ourselves to everybody. Everybody was like, "What's your Instagram? What's
Right.
your Facebook?" And when I say, "Oh, I'm on Periscope," they'd be like, "What's that?" you know. And I'm like, "You don't know what Periscope is?" And so after a while, I started meeting a lot of people, and they're like following each other. Like, George, I've been trying to follow you. I don't see you on Instagram anymore. It's like, no, I'm on Periscope. And then finally, we were having some drinks. People kind of got loose, and they were like, George, you got to get on Instagram or Facebook or something else. Like, we're not going to download Periscope, but we want to follow you. We want to connect with you. So I created a Instagram account that day while I was in DC, and I just kept kind of growing. And I remember when I, put myself out there and said, "Hey guys, I'm on Instagram now." A lot of people that were on Periscope that caught me, some people DM me. I remember it was BJ, who has a business called Black Small Biz, and Dion, who had Body Essence by Dion, and they were on Periscope too, but they had been on Instagram starting to build their brands over there. And I remember they DM me and was like, George, you really need to take this Instagram thing seriously. Your content, the way that you teach, you're going to do so good over here. And Monte, I ain't gonna lie to you, I was intimidated by Instagram because there were people over there that had 10, 20, 30,000 followers. And in my mind, I was thinking, I've been on Periscope for 5 years. I've only got 7,000 followers. These people got tens of thousands of followers. I'm not going to be able to compete with this, and I was very intimidated by Instagram for a long time. And the thing is the final year before Periscope closed, I got real serious about it. And I got real serious to where I started to like Instagram to where I was spending less time on Periscope and more time on Instagram. And then when the pandemic hit, because we were inside all the time, I had all this time to really double up on my content, and I was doing both really heavy. But Instagram was like taking off like super fast at that time for me. And so when, Periscope the next year, which was this year, decided to close down, it wasn't really like a big thing for me because I had already built my brand. I think I had just crossed over like 30,000 followers. I was doing lives all the time. I had already created more courses. And it was one of those things where it was like, okay, well, I need to go on there and do like a last Periscope video before it shuts down. I never did it because I was just like, I kept making excuses. Oh, I'll just do it tomorrow. I'll do it on the last day. Never did it. So
Yep.
it didn't affect me a lot. I would say it affected me maybe 20% of my revenue because I know I could go on there and I had a built-in audience that they weren't going anywhere but Periscope. And I should have probably did a better job of going on there and getting people to get on my list, coming to my Instagram, but I didn't do that. But eventually they found me on Clubhouse and some other place. And like, oh, so good to see you. I haven't seen you since Periscope closed down. It's been like a reunion and stuff, but I wish I would have done it sooner because I would have been able to kind of capitalize on that.
Yeah, because the numbers on Periscope were real nice at one time. I'm just like, nice audiences show up, right? So as the transition happened, you kind of migrated over to Instagram. I kind of migrated over to YouTube. I need all of my YouTube people to type in YouTube to convince George to come to YouTube, because I've been trying to convince George to come put his content on YouTube because I'm not an Instagrammer. But what I want you guys to note is, like, George went to Instagram and it is working. And we're going to dive into that. I went to YouTube and it is working. I'm going to need y'all to go to a platform that has video and let it work for you. Okay. Because it's just something about these platforms that if you tap into the right one and you find your groove on it, like, dive into it and go deep into it. That's what we did when we migrated, because I was intimidated the same reason you were. I was intimidated to go to YouTube. It's like, you got these videos that look professionally edited. They got all these followers over here, all these subscribers. Like, I know I'm going to get drowned out over here, but we managed to carve our lane and go get through it. Let me shout out everybody real quick, because then I got some familiar faces on here. I got my wife on here. My lovely wife is on here. She says, she's on Facebook. She said, George, Monte has been super excited about speaking with you today, which is true.
Well, I've been super excited about today too, man. Like I said, when you sent me the thing, I was ready to jump on right then.
I know, right? We could have started this like 4 hours ago. My guy Glenn is on here. Good to see him as always. Bernade. George, you remember Bernade from Periscope? She over here sending me $10 super chats over here on YouTube.
Hey, listen, shout out to Renee over there.
I got Nikki over here. She says, what's going on? Nikki creates. Nikki Patrice over here on YouTube. Good to see you. All right. So, George, you went on over to this Instagram thing and you said you built up your following. How many followers did you build on Instagram?
On my first account was 50. I had just crossed over 50,000 followers in May of this year. And then right before that account was taken, it was at 50. I had just hit 51,000.
Okay. So focus on a new platform, Instagram. You learning the ins and outs. Grow this platform, 50,000 subscribers. The account gets taken. When does it get taken, George?
May 9th, 2021. I remember it like it was yesterday.
All right, y'all. Notebooks out for anybody that wants to go on Instagram. All right. May 9th, 2021. Okay.
That's correct.
That's this year, George.
That's correct.
That's this year. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Just making sure for the audience. All right. 5 months ago. All right. You had to start a second account on Instagram from scratch, from like zero, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay. Now, anybody that's watching this video, you're on Instagram and you have more than 0 followers, or if you're just getting started and you have 0 followers, I want you to listen to George on what happens next. So, George, you create a second Instagram account. Obviously, Instagram was working. You want to stay on the platform, so you got to create a second one.
Right.
How many subscribers do you have on this new Instagram account right now?
21,000.
21,000. Okay.
Yeah.
I know it was over 20 because I just looked at it myself. So 5 months? Is that 5 months to get to 21,000 here now? 5 months.
It took me about 3.5 because I took a whole month off once I finally hit it.
Oh, that's right. Because I do remember you said you were going to take some time off. All right. So 3.5 months, 0 to 20,000. Okay.
Right.
All right. Organic, paid ads. How'd you grow that?
No paid ads or organic. I did do a little bit of influencer marketing, but no paid ads.
All organic. Okay. All right. Now, got all those preliminary questions out the way for my mastermind people. They will understand why I was asking those particular questions, right? All right. So 3.5 months, 0 to 20,000. How do you do that, George? How does that happen? Granted, you already do the platform a little bit, but growing that amount of people, you had to get your old people to know what your new account was first. Like, so it's not like you could just say, hey, go follow me on this account. Like, that's another action they have to take again, because we already know how hard it is to get followers to subscribe, to comment. I got to get you to take another action again to follow me. How did you grow that fast on Instagram?
So a lot of people think that I just did just that I emailed everybody and told them to follow me. And I'm going to tell you something that happened interestingly. When I first lost my account and they wouldn't let me appeal it or nothing, I created a second account that next day, and I made a post. Instagram shut my account down. Follow me here in my stories, and they shut the second account down.
Mhm.
So at that point, I was done with Instagram, right? And I was actually looking at, okay, do I want to go to YouTube or do I want to go to Clubhouse? And I ended up going to Clubhouse, and I was just on Clubhouse for about a week or so. And I was like, man, I really miss Instagram. And so that's when I created another one a week later, but I didn't do the, hey guys, this is what happened. I didn't tag Instagram on the post so that they could say, oh, he's back. Let's take him out. And so what I ended up doing, man, was first, I invested a lot of money in my last account when it came to learning the ins and outs of Instagram. I took a lot of courses, I hired a lot of coaches. And one of the best things, her name was Kay Hillman, she taught me about was building my content pillars. So knowing what my brand's pillars are going to be about, right? Which at the time was entrepreneurship, business formation, and digital marketing. And so once I kind of got my content pillars, which I keep on my whiteboard over here, I just went back to the basics. I said, George, you did this before. Just do everything you did the first time. You know what I'm saying? Let's see what happens. Monty, my goal was to get to 10,000 followers by December 31st. It was on my board. 10K followers, December 31st. That if I said if I could do this, I'll be happy. So I just started creating my content, and I just started, I would do 3 posts a day. Before I used to do like maybe 1 post a day on Instagram. But I was like, okay, let me do 3 posts a day. I'm gonna do 1 in the morning. I'm gonna separate them 4 to 6 hours apart. And the reason that you do that is because you want one post to be the star of the show. So the way that I did, I'm about to give y'all some serious game right now. I would have my post, which was just a graphic. So whether it was a tweet that I reposted or a picture of me or, an image, it was just a still image. I'd let that go for 4 to 6 hours. And then after that 4 to 6 hours, I would then post a video, right? This was right before Reels became really big. So I would post a video, and that video would just kind of go a little more in depth on the post because video was getting a lot of reach before Reels came, right? Reels is still video, but it was, at the time, it was 30-second when Reels came, and I just couldn't find a way to take all this and put it into 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So Reels weren't really my best friend. And then I would do a live in the evenings. And what I would do is I would make sure to just comment on other people's posts that were in similar niches as mine. What I would do is find the bigger pages, and I would look for comments that people would post that had a question about something that person might have posted. That 7 out of 10 times they don't answer. I would just answer them. Oh man, it's easy. Just do this, this, and this, this, and this, and this, this, and this. And all of a sudden I'd see like 50, 60 likes, multiple comments, several DMs, and then I get a ton of followers.
Mm-hmm.
And before I knew it, what ended up helping me was that when I started answering these questions, some of these like big time influencers, they would pin my comment at the top. They'd be like, yo, this dude just answered it. Listen to what he said. And then all of a sudden they would share it on their stories, and I would like come into my app because there was at a time where I was so like psychotic about growing that I was checking my app probably way more than I even want to share how often I was. I mean, I'd wake up 2 o'clock in the morning and see how many followers did I get, and I would look up and there's like 200 people that are following. Like, what? How did this happen? And you look and it's like, you've been mentioned in this person's stories. I'm like, that person's got 500,000 followers.
Mm-hmm.
So I just, I had to do what I like to call like a lot of blue collar work. I had to do some digging in the dirt and doing a lot of things that I stopped doing when I hit 20,000. And I might get back into it, but right now I've just been focusing on finding my core audience, putting out a little bit more better quality content, and really getting a little bit more structure in place. So that's why my growth is slow because I haven't been as focused on growth. I'm still growing, but I know how when I'm ready to turn it back on, I know I can go to 40,000 in a couple months. Like
Yeah.
I've convinced myself now, George, you can do whatever you want on this app. You know what to do. So it's really nice to be able to know I can do whatever I want when I want on it.
Yeah, what you said is something that works consistently on the YouTube side. Is the same thing. It was like answering questions, taking that knowledge, answering questions. And one of the things I tell people too is like if they're struggling to figure out what to create, go into the comment section of these other channels and see
Yep.
what questions are not being answered
Mhm.
and create a video
Create the
to
content.
answer. Yeah.
It's
And
easy.
how many times do we share other people's, if it's an art blog article or Facebook,
Yep.
like,
Yep.
because sometimes we don't have the time to sit there and curate the answer to it. So we'll just share somebody else's. And, that's how, my channel grew too. It's the same, different platform. It's the same concept, is
Right.
put out good information, good answers, and other people will see it and they'll begin to share your content, and you don't have to worry about trying to go and find everybody to follow those. I don't like going after onesies and twosies. If the person with 500,000 followers wants to share it, cool, have at it, appreciate you, and
Right.
let that grow. So you got a system in place where you know how to turn it on and turn it off. Now I got some people. I did a poll a little bit earlier to see how many people were going to focus on Instagram in 2022, and everybody that answered the poll said yes. So I need to click on that myself to kind of learn Instagram. But like when you said the 30 seconds, I was like, yeah, I like long form, so I had to focus on the long form a little bit more. But I know that Instagram has been working really well, because we kind of talked about this offline. And you're on the video, so sometimes I log into Instagram and I see you on video. Walk me through what that like now for you, because I'm huge on video. We come from the Periscope where you were on video. What's it like using Instagram video, and how do you really use that?
It's, for Instagram video, I treat it and approach it almost just like Periscope. When I'm going live, I know what I'm going to talk about. I know what my talking points are, and I know what I want to do. But one of the things that I've noticed about Instagram is that Instagram really wants like short form content. My content's not very short form. If you go and look at my IGTV, a lot of my stuff's 20, 30, 40 minutes long. So, I've been like trying to find ways to reduce that. And that's what's really pushing me towards getting on YouTube, because I won't have to do that on YouTube versus I kind of have to do that on Instagram, because you lose people after those first 5 to 7 minutes because they're so used to getting that just micro content. But I really like Instagram because they started doing a better job of really allowing people to engage with you. When I first got on Instagram, one of the things that I didn't like was, unless somebody was commenting, you didn't know if they were enjoying it. And you remember on Periscope, those hearts would tell you that people were enjoying it. No one had to say a thing. If they were tapping that screen, the energy just kept flowing. And at the time, Instagram didn't really have that. And then they introduced it and it was kind of clunky a little bit. Like sometimes they would be a little delayed, and now it's like pretty seamless, just like Periscope was. So I approach it the same way as Periscope, to be honest with you. It's just that I don't do it every day like I used to do with Periscope.
Uh-huh.
I try to make sure I'm doing it at least once or twice a week, even though it's probably been a couple weeks since I've been on, and really just have a structure to how I'm going to do it. So if I know for the week that let's just say I'm promoting a certain product or something, I'm going to create content and outline it on Sunday of everything that I need to post or cover in a live over the week that gets to the meat and potatoes of what it is that I'm trying to pitch or offer at the end of the week, or just overall what I'm trying to educate people on. So I found myself being a lot more strategic, a lot more structured whenever it comes to my content, to where I'm just like, I used to get excited about getting on Periscope and I would just get on it on a whim wherever I was at and
Right.
talk about whatever came to mind. Now I kind of channel that, and I go to my whiteboard and do the boring thing where I just kind of outline, okay, this is a really good topic I'm going to talk about, but I can't talk about all that today because it's going to be too much. I'm going to lose people. They want that short form content, so I can't be excited about talking about 3 different things like I used to on Periscope. I need to just stick to one, and I got to figure out how to make sure that one thing that I talk about, I don't overdo that as well and make that too long. So that's
Mhm.
kind of the approach. It's a little bit different now.
And when you said that, the one thing, my guy, my coach in here, Glenn P. Brooks Jr., I think he about lost his mind when you said the one thing, because that's his core. That's the core of his whole community right there, focusing on that one thing.
Yeah.
Um, but George, look, if you're struggling trying to find a platform where you can focus on long form content, come on over to YouTube. I can help you out with that. You could talk for hours at a time on you over here on YouTube. What's funny though with YouTube, because like you said, you haven't been on Instagram. I've only put up one video in the last like 2 or 3 weeks. But when I looked at my ad revenue from YouTube, it hasn't gone down because of my watch time from these live streams, which is pretty interesting. So the strategic part, like I want y'all that are listening to like, don't think you have to do one, don't or do every platform. Like there's so many different ways that you can make it work for you. And that's what I love about these platforms. Before we got started, we were just kind of talking about, different things in this digital space that you can monetize. And we're going to get into that too, because that's George's whole tagline: it's monetize everything.
Oh yeah.
But if you guys haven't checked out George's Instagram to kind of look at his content, I got it in the YouTube description. I've got it in Facebook description as well. So make sure that you guys go follow George, give him some more follows, like he needs more. He's got 20,000. He doesn't need no more.
I need all the followers I can get.
Let me shout out MelonApp real quick. If you guys are loving tonight's content so far, special shout out to MelonApp for making this happen. They are my live streaming platform that I'm using every single Monday to go live to Facebook and YouTube. And if you want to go to LinkedIn, you can do that as well. If you just want to record video, you can do that as well. If all the tech just makes you go crazy, check out MelonApp, because they make it super seamless to go live every single time you want to go live, from PC, Mac, all that good stuff. I'm over here looking at the comments. Good to see Chris here as well. Glenn put the website in there. Appreciate that. All right, let's get into. This is like the first time in history. I don't know what it is. I got more people on Facebook tonight than I do on YouTube. That is typically, it's always the other way around. So George, I don't know if you brought a crew from Facebook over here. Well, no, you ain't got Facebook no more.
Well, no, but I did post it on my Instagram though.
Okay. If you, all right, hashtag George if you part of George's crew, so I know who the strangers are tonight. All right, George, let's get into some monetization. It's not the topic of the show. I just love the topic when you talk about it, because I'm that guy that I like to listen to good information, regardless if I necessarily need it or not. I just like to listen to people that I like listening to that give good information. And you were one of those guys, because you would talk about different concepts, and like, it wouldn't apply to me. I just like listening to it. Like, that's just how it was. And so when Periscope went away, I was just kind of like bummed, like, man, I can't even listen to George now, because like I gotta find another place to listen to. And then Clubhouse came along, and I would pop in some rooms. And I'd just, sit in the background. I'm just listening to George talk about course development. Like, I don't really have a question. I just like listening to George talk about it, because it's like really good information and it's helping so many people. Talk about this monetize everything concept that you've been talking about for years, and how people should approach monetizing their knowledge, especially now, like that everybody, the workforce. I was looking at the numbers the other day. People are just like quitting their jobs. They're just like, nope, not doing this no more. And they're like, I'm going to do this on my own.
Yeah. The pandemic, I think, started that. They're calling it right now the Great Reset, or the Great, what is it called? The Great Resignation. It's the first time in history that jobless numbers have came from people resigning and not from companies laying off. I'm a nerd when it comes to the statistics and the studies and all that other stuff. I'm really big on numbers. And it's the first time in history that something like this has ever happened. They said it's unprecedented. But what happened was, you had a lot of people in 2020 that decided to start monetizing everything because they had all this time back. And so you had a lot of people now that are making, 5-6 figures, that some are even making more in their jobs. But the thing that kept them in their jobs when they went back to work was, well, I got insurance. I've been doing this for a while. Maybe this money can stop. And when the money didn't stop, it made people like, I got to go back in the office and all this other stuff. And so people started saying, I had enough of this corporate thing. I mean, I had a client recently. He's 31 and he just retired from the workforce, made good money in corporate America. But he built his brand during the pandemic. It exploded. It did really well. And he's gone on to do it. But when people hear, I start saying monetize everything a lot. And I'll be the first to admit I probably wasn't the first one to ever say it, but I just say it all the time because it resonates a lot with me. When I say monetize everything, I'm not just meaning like, monetize whatever you can to make money. What I mean is like monetize your pain, monetize the things that you know, monetize your knowledge, monetize the things that you've learned, the setbacks that you've gone through, monetize everything. Because there's some people that, a lot of people, when they think of monetize everything, they think it's about just making money or teaching people how to make money. There's people that want to know how they can recover from a divorce. There's people that want to know, like, how can they change careers, you know what I'm saying, in their 40s and 50s? How can they go from a career they no longer want to do anymore but make good money? How can they get in another career that they don't have to go back to school for 4 years but still be able to work their way up and make good money in a short amount of time? So when I say monetize everything, like really look at what you have and what can you monetize. I had a client recently that she's an RN, and she's like, "How can I monetize being a nurse?" And we started working together and probing, and found out that she's not a traditional nurse; she's a travel nurse. So she
Mm.
gets paid these huge contracts to go to Hawaii, San Diego, and so many other things to be a nurse in like these nice hospitals in these nice states and all this other stuff. And she's like walking away, like working 12-week contracts, and she's leaving with $30,000, $40,000. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, that's it. You're going to teach people how to get travel nursing assignments, how to negotiate their contracts, how to get these rental cars and per diem credit cards and corporate apartments instead of a hotel, how to get childcare. Because I didn't know you could even do that kind of stuff. And she was telling me this, and I said, that's what we're going to monetize. And so we started working it out and building it out. And before you know it, she now teaches nurses who are working in traditional hospitals. Here's how you can go and be in like the nicest hospitals in the nicest areas all over the country and teaching people that. And she's doing extremely well with that. So when you think of monetize everything, it's when I say that, monetize everything that you know, that you have, and that you can show people how to duplicate that result. And once you do that, monetize everything again, because then let's say you have a course that you teach people how to get into travel nursing. Turn that course into an ebook for people that may not, want to buy your high ticket course. And now you've got a book that they can purchase that teaches them somewhat of the same thing, and that's something you can monetize. You could then have a group coaching program that goes more in depth or helps people where they might be stuck in a self-paced course. That's something you can monetize. Not to mention you could speak, you could consult, and so many other things. So when you monetize one thing, then you make sure that you take that one thing and monetize everything when it comes to that one
Yeah, how do I got you keep saying the one thing? I got Glenn over here. All I hear from him is the one thing. Like I almost feel like I gotta get both of y'all on at the same time, and I'm just let me just get out this conversation. But I love it, and that focus. When you focus in on that one thing, it definitely makes room for all these other opportunities to present
thing.
themselves to monetize. So I'm loving it. Annette and on YouTube says, thanks so much for saying that monetizing my skills, exactly what I've been doing. Chris says, great point, more than just how to monetize everything. Um, what else we got over here? Glenn says, I agree 100%. People will pay you for what you know, especially if you can teach them how to do what it is that you know. Yeah. Um, Let me see who else is on here. There it is. What is the one thing? See, I knew Glenn was going. I knew he was going to get it right for me. What is the one thing such by doing that makes everything either easier or unnecessary? There it is, right there. Glenn, just like make that on a quote card so I can just stick it up here because I always go back and refer. There aren't a lot of people I will just say like go to this person, like just go to them. Like I don't have to put a lot of context around it. They'll have a question. Glenn is one of them, and George, you're another one of them. I'll be like, just go to George. Don't ask me about like how you. He has the answer. Just go to him. And I don't do that for a lot of people, but like I just know you. So I'm glad you're here and being able to share some knowledge. If you guys have questions, put those in the chat. Like start right now because I typically do a little bit later and I don't have time for all the questions. But if you guys have questions, otherwise I'll ask all my questions. Put it in the chat for George on Facebook and on Periscope. I mean, on Periscope, Facebook and YouTube, so I can ask George these questions. The reason I say that is because George is going to charge you to talk to you. And here's a little insider information. I remember, George, I don't know if you remember this. I called you one day. I think I texted you first, and then but we got on the phone. I said, hey, I need to figure out how much to charge an hour. I said, I'm not getting this right. I had heard so many people tell me what I should be charging, and then when I charged it, they wouldn't pay me. So I'm like, okay, that ain't working. So I was like, I know George knows this. How much do I charge an hour? And George, you gave me a number. I don't know if you remember what the number was. Do you remember what the number is?
Was it 150?
Nope. That's what I was charging.
It's
It's the
probably
same rate as yours now.
3 or 5.
It's 5.
5. Okay.
Yeah, so y'all better ask these questions now because if you ever want to know why I charge 500 for an hour, it's because of this guy right here. He said that's what you need to charge, and sure enough, people pay it too. So I was like, "Yep, this works." And so these little tidbits of information, I rock with people that like are doing this stuff, y'all. And like, I'm not big on try to figure everything out. Like, yo, does this work for you? Okay, what's the answer? Let me go and implement it. And that's kind of what I do in my mastermind, George. Is like we ain't got time to be like trying to figure all the crossing T's and I's. Like you spend so much time doing that, like we never get anything done. And I'm just like, yo, that's a now we got to change this formula up a little bit. So if you guys got questions for George, make sure that you ask them in this setting. Otherwise, you're going to sign an invoice off. And so I'm trying to help y'all out. All right, let me jump over here, Glenn, over here, because George, this is perfect because I know you're teaching people about courses and everything like that. So Glenn on Facebook says, "What platform do you use to build your digital courses?"
So to build them, I mean, I use Thinkific to host my courses, and I use actually Zoom to record them and different things like that. But I'm actually going to be checking out MelonApp. Whenever you mentioned that you can record, I was like, wait, what? And I like the quality, so that's going to change. But as far as hosting, I use Thinkific.
Awesome, awesome. Um, let's see here. Glenn says, "Can we interview him in the lessons learned in business room on Clubhouse? Would love to know him on a teach reach." Oh, absolutely, absolutely,
Yeah, I love
absolutely.
Clubhouse, man. Like, yeah, I would love to. Matter of fact, at the end of this, I'm gonna go and get connected with his club and everything.
Yeah, yeah. Bootstrapping business and ministry in the mornings. I think because George, you know the ministry world too, and because we had a lot of people in the ministry world that would come on Periscope, and so
Oh yeah,
we
yeah,
constantly were helping them navigate that. I'm actually surprised we didn't know Glenn and his circle on Periscope because we kind of all had these circles on Periscope, and you kind of knew who was in. And
yeah,
Glenn was on Periscope at the same time, and like we never ran into him. But what's interesting about Clubhouse now is like all these other business communities, they've kind of blended. And so we've met a lot of people in these other circles that were outside of ours. And the Clubhouse really facilitated meeting a lot of new people.
yeah.
Um, and I know you've really taken advantage of that platform too. What's that kind of been like for you on Clubhouse and growing there?
So with Clubhouse, man, like I really like Clubhouse because it takes like the stress away from videoing, right? Because you got to make sure your lighting's right, you got to make sure your beard is right, your hair is right, all this other stuff. And Clubhouse kind of takes that away. You just get to go on there and just give good value on it. And one thing that I loved about Clubhouse when I got on it was like, wow, there's other dope people out there too. You know what I'm saying? Because like you said, when we were on Periscope, we felt like we was the only ones there. And so when you're seeing all these people that were on Clubhouse and are going to some of these rooms, I'm like, wow, they're teaching what I teach, or they're teaching, on topics similar to mine, but they're like really dope. Like where they been? And you find out they were on Clubhouse at one point. They were on Instagram. It's like it just opened up this whole new world for people. Like, wait, so there was more people on Clubhouse than just me, Monte, and a few other people. You know what I'm saying? Like, because that's what it felt like. And I love Clubhouse, man, because it had its kind of roller coaster time. I think a lot of those people, everybody was a millionaire people and stuff. I think they've kind of gone away. And the app and the true essence that I felt that Clubhouse could be, I feel that like it's finally ushered in and it's there. You're getting good conversations. You're getting people that are, coming in and giving good value on topics, which is what I'm all about. And it made me come back to Clubhouse and really appreciate it versus when I first got on it late last year. That made me kind of have a sour taste in my mouth and start hitting Instagram harder. That got me to 50K. But I'm glad that I came back and seeing that like what I felt it could be, it's finally starting to be that.
Hmm. Yeah, Clubhouse was definitely. I think we, like you said, we weeded out a lot of the people that were just there just to talk the big games. Is just trying to grow this huge following like overnight, but and not do anything with it, just kind of talk and just try to get people off and then they're not there anymore. But consistent people have still been there. So I definitely like jumping in and I was listening to a good conversation earlier today, just driving or just around the mindset of business. And it was just like good conversation of other people that do what you do. And I was like, man, like you said, it's like, where have these people been? And so you
Right.
find them on these apps, on these social apps. I got Relax and Slumber and the YouTube. I gotta get used to saying y'all's names on YouTube. I wish YouTube made a rule where it like showed me your real names because I love calling y'all by your real names. It says I'm having a tough time growing my channel on YouTube. What advice can you give? Create videos. Now, when I say it, me and George had this conversation a little bit earlier. I'm trying to be soft when I say it because I have two communities, George. I have a mastermind community, like where I just give you the straight, blunt answer, and then I have to be nice to make sure that I don't scare anybody off. So
Right.
you, so because me and George were talking about like marketing, and advertising, stuff like that before y'all. So we might get to a little bit of it. But with YouTube, you really do have to just create the videos. And like we said a little earlier, how I started was what questions aren't being answered. Let me give the answers to those questions. And literally the videos that take off are the ones that people ask a lot of questions about. How do I do X, Y, or Z? And those are the videos that get the most viewership. I like creating content for, they're not paying me, but they need to pay me. I like doing, videos about stuff I like. So like right now, I like vitamin water, right? But it might not be searched a lot. And a lot of people might not have questions about it. So the video won't perform that well. But on YouTube, it's what are people typing in?
Right.
Let me create videos based off of what people are typing in. And then I also look at other people in my space. What videos are they doing that are performing really well? How can I redo that same video in my own style, in my own format, and put that video out there? So that's how you grow on YouTube. But I'm going to take that question and I'm going to change YouTube to Instagram. George, how do you grow on Instagram?
Main thing is content. I'm going to say the same thing you did. Content is king, right? And I think Glenn said this, consistency is the queen. You just have to put out good quality content. Now, that's why I have to like put an emphasis on the word quality, because a lot of times someone might just create a video and say, well, I've created 10 videos, Monty, nothing's happening. George, I created 10 posts. I posted 10 times this week, nothing's happening. And you go and see it and it's like a post of their dog, or it's like a 30-second video of this is why you need to be purchasing my course and doing this, this, and this. And you're just like, what can you give that's going to give substance? You know what I'm saying? And so finding out what questions are not getting answered from people, that's one thing you want to do. But another thing is addressing pain points. That's something that we don't do. We answer a lot of questions, we give a lot of what and whys, but we don't talk about pain points. Like, what are some things that are causing people to have pain points? Another thing is break down limiting beliefs. Like, there's never too late to change a job. You don't need a lot of money to get into real estate, and given a case study as to investments for real estate, and I'm just giving a few examples, but, statistics, giving good quality information. People don't go out and actively search for statistics on things. So give a statistic on like an area in your niche or your business that's really interesting. Like one of the statistics in e-learning. E-learning is a $336 billion industry. By 2027, it's slated to be a $1 trillion industry. In 2020, over $250 billion was generated online in e-learning revenue. So the thing is that, when you start giving those statistics out, it really gets people flowing like, maybe I really need to take a look at this. Maybe I really can do this. Wow, I didn't know there was that much money going on there. I need to get some of that. So when you start to educate people on things, you don't always have to just be giving out the secret sauce. Sometimes you just need to educate your audience on something that they may have not known, because I believe people deep down inside really like to be educated on stuff that they're interested in. Just
Mhm.
because they don't read or don't actively go and look about it, they really like to do it. That's like when I go to church, one of the things that attracts me to a lot of pastors that I listen to on YouTube or their podcast is how they teach. There's some people that like the shouting and the rah, rah, rah. Me, I like the teaching. I like the parables. I like taking this scripture and giving me a real world deal and making me be like, oh, now I get why that scripture was written like that. I like to be taught. Just because I might not look as deep in different scriptures like some, ministers and pastors and things like that, it doesn't mean that I don't appreciate being taught on those particular topics and getting a real world scenario that helps me really like resonate with that scripture more. So that would be my advice, just making sure you're putting out good quality content that's educating your audience and different things like that.
Mhm. I love it. Um, okay, Relaxing Slumber says they've been creating shorts and they perform way better than regular format videos. Yeah, YouTube Shorts is interesting. And I tell people if you see something working, double down on it.
Yeah.
Like I don't care what the gurus say. If it's working for you, there's something there that you want to tap into, because there's always going to be like the great debate. Which platform is better? Is it Instagram or is it YouTube or is it Clubhouse or is it Facebook? Which one is working for you? Like, do enough to see what's working. And
Yeah.
if the shorts are working for you, figure out everything about shorts and go all in on the shorts.
Mm-hmm.
Because if obviously you've put in some time to see like the long form is not working, and not to say that it'll never work, but I'm big on this speed thing, George, especially now. Like how fast can I get something to work and then start to work on its own? Like Amazon, I'm big on Amazon Live, right? Like it just started working real fast. So now I don't have to spend as much time trying to learn all the parts of that. I can like, okay, I can just jump on like Amazon Live. I'll jump on next week and it'll just perform well just because I know how it works. Like you said, I just turn on the follow button. I know what it takes to get these files. I just turn it on when I need to turn it on, and I'll just dial it back when I need to dial it back a little bit. So if you find something that's working really well, definitely just go ahead and just go all in on the part that is working. And then once you have time to like dedicate to these other areas, then come back to maybe look at that long form video a little bit more. Um, who is this? Annette says, I'm on point with motivational speaking on today's issues. Okay, cool. Nikki says, exactly. I love being taught. It's just putting it into action. Yes, action is big. Execution is huge. I'm
That's
big
the
on that
name of
piece
the
of
game.
it. Yeah. Let me check over here on Facebook. Make sure I didn't miss anybody. I see Glenn on Facebook. My Facebook audiences, they're quiet. That's what it is. I've learned my audiences so well. My Facebook audience stays quiet. Um, Glenn says, how do I apply it? That is what people want to know. He says he loves you. It's a short person. He says he loves
I love
you.
you too, man.
All right. Now we talked about Instagram and we talked about monetizing.
Mm-hmm.
Let's bring these two together. So you found a platform that's working for you, right?
Right, right.
How do you get these people to go and buy what it is that you have to offer, George? Like, how does that transition work? And, because some of us, we're scared to ask for the sale.
Mhm.
Some of us don't know where we send people. Do we have to do this
Right.
website? Do we got to do a webinar? Do we got to, like, I need to eat? They get overwhelmed. Like, what's a simple way of getting them to see what it is that we do on a social platform and actually monetizing what we talked about like a couple minutes earlier?
Right. It starts with your content. Your content is always going to sell your product. So the thing about it is that when you show up and you're giving people good quality information, you're educating them, you are solidifying your authority. A lot of people, Monty, whether the thing about it is that we don't want to show up. We only want to show up when it's time to sell something. We don't want to show up whenever it's not time to sell something. Maybe you don't sell anything until the end of October, but you still need to show up the first, second, and third week of October. So when it is time to sell something in at the end, you've done enough of the work, you've done enough of the education that you're able to do it. Because what I've learned is that when you are showing up when you don't have to, that's when you're actually going to sell the product when it's time to. You sell the product. If you're going to launch a product on October 31st, you sell it the 1st through the 29th. You sell it showing up, because what's going to happen is that, the way I do it, if I know I'm going to sell a product, let's say me and we've talked about stock investing before. So let's say I'm selling a course on stock investing. From the 1st through the 28th, I'm going to be educating people on just the basics. What is a broker? What is the difference between fundamental analysis and technical analysis? What is an income statement versus a cash flow statement? I'm educating my audience and getting them into that whole mode of why they should want to learn this stuff. So then when we get to that point at the end to where it's time for me to start pitching what I have, I've already technically sold it. So leading up to it, that's when I know my final week, I need to be doing my call to actions. If you want to learn more about investing in the market and make sure you click the link in my bio, grab my free checklist on 10 ways to get started in the stock market. And that checklist will give them some basic things they could start doing now. And then that checklist at the end might have a call to action to register for my upcoming webinar where I'm going to teach on something and then pitch my course at the end. Or I start putting a call to action in my captions that says, if you would like to know more about this, you should enroll in my dividend investing masterclass. This class is going to teach you. And that's where you start to put in what's in it for them. When you're doing a call to action, your job is not to say, buy my course so you could get more stocks. Your job is to say, buy my course so you can get knowledge in finding your own stocks, not depending on some random person on Twitter to tell you how to do it, how to find a winning stock so you can start making money and growing your money on your own, how to invest into dividends so you can make money in retirement. You give them what is in it for them. Because if you pitch it to them in the way that shows them what they get and how it's going to benefit them, you technically really never have to sell. Right? The sale is you educating them on what's in it for them. They're technically going to just go and say, okay, this is something that I want, this is something that I need, and this is something that I'm going to get. Because you're not going to sell everyone. And I think that's what people's mindset is that makes them so afraid. They think, well, I've got 100 people, I got 1,000 people that are following me, I'm getting 200 likes, 50 comments. What if only one person buys? That means we need to learn more about that one person and create content that speaks to that person so that we can go and do that. So that's why it's important having your niche, your target audience, your client avatar, so that you can know who you're creating content for, what their problems are, what their limiting beliefs are, and most importantly, what they want to be educated on, so that you could sell the course before you actually pitch the course. So that would be my advice on that piece.
Yeah, you hit on something that jogged my memory. I remember when I was talking more so on Periscope, I was like showing people how to do certain things. And when I was asking for the feedback, because feedback is good when you get it from the right people. And the guy said, he said, Monte, your content is amazing, but he said it's too much at sometimes. And what he meant by was I was giving too much information where he couldn't apply all of it when I was giving it to him. So to what you just said, what I would do is I would take down the amount of content I was giving in the live streams, and I would just focus heavy on these sub pieces. versus trying to give so much of the value. I give these sub pieces so in detailed where the sale made it a lot easier because the sale was like the other parts of it. I just couldn't get to it because they were getting so much value from the sub pieces of it. I'm like, hold on, this is like the elementary. I ain't even got to the real stuff yet. But the sub pieces were so much value to them that I was like, oh, okay, well, if you guys want the rest of it, it's just right here and it'll go through step by step. And I never had to think about what do I talk about today? What do I talk about tomorrow? And sometimes I know people get overwhelmed by trying to figure out what do I post? What do I put up a video of? And like I literally regurgitate the same things all the time. I just use different verbiage. Um, and to that YouTube question, like I literally took a part of my course and it was like my most watched video on YouTube because I see who was that on here? Says, was that Annette? She said, I have been creating since January on Facebook and just learned how to upload on YouTube, the most viewed from Facebook. I literally took one of my course videos and put it on YouTube and it got 300,000 views. But I've literally talked about live streaming, George knows, since 2016. Like I talked about it on Periscope since 2016,
That's
how to live
perfect.
stream. It wasn't until I put it on YouTube that it got 300,000 views and all these comments, and I use it as leverage when I go and talk to different companies or when I go and talk to other people about hiring me to do their live stream. Like, yeah, go look at the 300,000 views I got over here. Like, that's my social proof for being able to use these different platforms and these different softwares. And so just taking that video is something that you can definitely do. And then also for you, Annette, is if you want to take your videos and put them on YouTube. I'm big on the brand deals, big on the sponsorship. So you can definitely do that as well. Just taking that social proof, putting it on the platform, and then directing companies and brands to go back and see that you know what you're talking about essentially. Okay. But yeah, if you have videos that are performing really well, optimize it for YouTube and put them over there. And then I saw Relax and Slumbers comment, my channel is a relaxed channel, which is saturated and it's difficult to stand out. I don't want you to think about it that way because there's no saturation over there. It may be hard to believe, but there's no saturation on YouTube. You just have other channels that have just been there longer. So I'm in a tech space. You know how many tech channels there are out there that you can go watch? How many, if you go type in, how do I grow on Instagram? You may find this video because I tried to optimize it. It was optimized earlier in the day. I was like third earlier in the day, but it's been a few hours now. But there are a bunch of videos from a bunch of different creators out there.
Right.
But so is live streaming, right? But why does my video rank like number 3 for live stream? Like once you learn the game of these social platforms, and I talk about this in the MMC community, shout out MMC. Once you learn the game, learn the rules to the game on these platforms, you can still get visible. That's the point of what I was asking George at the beginning. Like you have to start at zero. There are a lot of people on Instagram, George. George, you the statistics guy. How many people on Instagram? I don't know.
It is just under 2 billion.
There's 2 billion people on Instagram.
Yeah.
That would seem saturated to me. 2 billion people that I got to compete with, but yet you're able to get 20,000, and we don't need hundreds of thousands of people, y'all. And that's if you're not in my mastermind, I'm gonna do a wait list because I want to try to do something for 2022. I gotta see if I can make it happen. You don't need all these people. That's that myth thing. Like we all believed we needed all these people, subscribers, because if we didn't have X amount of people, we couldn't sell enough. Let me tell y'all, I've been working with some people. They have less than 1,000 followers on YouTube and getting 4 and 5 figure brand deal offers with less than 1,000 people. And you don't need all these people. That I don't want y'all to get stuck on the people, the
Right.
follower numbers. It's the content and the value, because you ultimately you want to speak to the right people. Like George was saying earlier, it's like you try to find that core group of people that really, really want his content, because the more you know about your audience, the better that you can serve them. So it ain't nothing saturated as far as I'm concerned. George, you got
I
any
don't
comments
believe
on
in
that?
it. I don't believe in saturation. So I just did this on my calculator right here on my other screen, and I want to share this with the people because I think this is going to set a lot of people free. You can make $250,000 a year on Instagram with only, as long as you can sell a $97 product 2,577 times in 1 year. Okay. So 2,577 times in 1 year divided by 12 means you only need to sell a $97 product to 214 people a month. So out of 2 billion people, you just need to find 214 people a month that your course solves a problem for. That's it. So if we were to do this in terms of 10%, that means that roughly you need about 2,000 followers to sell potentially to 214 people, right? And so if you can focus on that instead of, oh, it's just people with 10,000 followers and 20. Some of those people that have a lot of followers, y'all, they're not even selling a product. They just have a lot of followers. Some of them, they sell like, shout outs and things like that, but they don't even have a product. Some of these people, they have a product. There was a guy, it was really popular where he had, what was it, 1 million followers, or one girl had 1 million followers, but she couldn't sell more than 100 t-shirts.
Yeah, I heard about that.
You know what I'm saying? And so it's not always about the following. It's about the quality of information that you're sharing. This person was sharing information, grew to over 1 million followers, and released a t-shirt that had absolutely nothing to do with her content. So she wasn't able to sell even 100 t-shirts when she had over 1 million engaged followers. So I want you guys to just focus on the quality that you could give to people. $250,000 with a $97 product, and you only need to sell it 2,500 times in 1 year. 214 people a month is really not that bad. If you can grow, let's just say you can get 500 to 700 new followers a month, you should be able to sell 200 of your courses to the people if you're creating the right type of content that's literally educating them and giving them the information and tools that they need to understand that you are an authority in your space. So like Monte said, don't focus on that. Like, the only reason that I went so hard to get back to 20K followers is because, I'll be honest, I just wanted the K next to my name because I missed it. I'm used to having a lot of followers. So once I got it next to my name, I slowed it down because now I'm just focused on quality. I was still selling products, but now I'm just focusing on quality and core audience, building that out and really speaking to that core audience, my ideal students, my ideal client avatars, and building that relationship with them so that I'm getting better conversions. I have better projections for my revenue each month. And most importantly, I know that, I know what my audience wants and needs. So it's easy for me to create those products and making sure I'm putting those environments out there that's going to support them. So if all you need to sell is 214 $97 products, how many followers do you really need to sell 214 products a month?
Yeah. Y'all don't get stuck on the game of the followers. Like, there's two games going on. It's one, like, yeah, I know I need the follower count, but I just need it for the social proof. I don't need it to sell the product. I just need the social proof, because the reality is half of y'all wouldn't buy from people that have, if I had 50 followers, y'all would not buy from me on YouTube. That's just the reality of it. You would, no matter how good my product is, if you say, oh, that guy only has 50 followers, I'm not going to buy it because he only has 50 followers. So, but the reason I'm trying to grow the follower count is not to grow the follower count, is to actually sell the product. But I need the social proof to sell the product, because that's how the buyers, that's what they're responding to. Me and George talked about a little bit at the beginning. If I have 100,000 followers, and when I have 100,000 followers on YouTube, you know how easy it is going to be for me to sell the product, because between 10,000 and 100,000, I focus so much on the quality of serving the audience. Not because I have 100,000 followers, it's because the quality is, I built that up with these first 10,000 followers. Okay, this is what they want. So if I know the quality is really good, I don't care how long it takes to get to 100,000. I'll sell more than some of the other people that are already at 100,000 and can't figure out why they can't sell a product, because they just focused on getting to the number and not the actual audience members. I know one thing I look at, George, is my retention graphs. I'm looking at what types of people are clicking on, who's watching it. I look at the comments of my own videos to see what questions I can answer, making sure, because I'm telling people, hey, leave me a question. Like, what can I answer for you so I can make sure that I'm giving you what you want? And that's why I feel like teaching. I don't ask the questions on YouTube because I just want you guys to ask questions. I need to know what I can provide for you guys. Like if George is here and I know he grew his Instagram channel, and like George is a guy I truly respect in this digital online space, I want you to ask your questions so you can get an answer to your question so you can go out and do something with it. Because when you come back here, I want you to say, hey, I did what such and such said and it worked. Cool. But like, I don't know about you, George, but those are one of the biggest things for me in this space. It's like, hey, what you said worked.
Yeah, yeah. Because I mean, it's I get those not as often as I would like, because a lot of people, they don't like to do the work. But when they do the work, they're like, George, I just got a text, and I actually just posted it on Instagram today. Someone said, I did what you told me to do, and this is how much I made for the month. And I was like, you still got 12 days left, and you made more than some people make in 3 months out of the year. You know what I'm saying? And and it was just like, I did everything you said to do. And the thing is that what people have to understand is that when we go live or when we post and we give you these strategies, like, we're literally telling you what you need to do. And just because it may not work right away, sometimes it takes time. Like, if Monte gives me some strategies to use, I can't expect to get to 20,000 followers off of one video. I know I'm going to need to create multiple videos, do multiple things of those strategies to get to that point. So my thing is, just give me the play. Like, just tell me what I need to do, and I'll do it, because I know, like, we've been in this game long enough that we know if someone gives you a strategy, as long as you put in the time and you apply it, it's gonna work. It might take a month, it might take a week, it might take 6 months, but it will work. But I'd rather look back 6 months from now and be like, I'm glad I did it, I got 5,000 followers, than looking back 6 months from now being like, man, I should have did it. Now I got to start from scratch, and I'm starting with 0 followers 6 months later, when I could be having 2, 3, 4, 5,000 followers if I would have started 6 months before.
Yeah, I love it. Annette says, I love this comment. She says, I believe my style is unique. Nobody can deliver it like me.
100%.
I love that comment.
100%.
Once you have that mindset, George, I'm like, ooh, wait, yeah, because like that's why they show up.
Right.
Y'all heard me say at the beginning, I didn't necessarily have to show up for George's content because I needed it. I just like George. Glenn is on Facebook, and I tell Glenn all the time. I said, Glenn, like, your voice got me. Like, I was like, it was something about his voice. It hooked me. Like,
it's different. Like, think about it. Think of all the churches in Houston, and there's people that don't go to Joel Osteen's church. And it's not because he ain't got no room for more people. It's because they like the way this other pastor delivers the word. They might be teaching they teach from the same Bible for the most part. Some of them even teach from the same scriptures on certain Sundays. But there's just people that like the delivery. Like, there's some people that love Bishop, T.D. Jakes' delivery more than they love Joel Osteen's. And there's people that might go from Joel Osteen's church to T.D. Jakes and be like, oh my God, what is going on? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just all about the delivery. So I love that whole thing. I believe my style is unique. It is unique, and nobody can deliver that. That's why there could be tons of people teaching real estate, tons of people teaching live streaming, tons of people teaching, course creation, but we all deliver it differently. Mm-hmm. We might even be saying the same thing, but we all say it in a different way. And the way that we say it resonates with a group of people. And this is how you start to segment your audience and build your communities. So that's why, I think that's so important.
All right. I'm looking at my time. I got to be respectful of my time with George here. And I've said this before, y'all. Like, this is what's happening in real time. I started YouTube January 2020, not knowing, I knew how to grow on YouTube because, like George did, I invested in courses before I just dove all in. Like, I won't try to just spend a whole bunch of time just flailing to figure it out. I don't. Let me invest some money. Let me learn this so I can go implement it. So again, 0 to 15,000 a year. It's like, I took the time to learn it first, and then I got into it, right? But when I got into it, I didn't know everything. But I was able to take what I did learn, and 6 months later offer to teach people how I was able to grow. I think from that time it was like 0 to 10,000. I was able to teach people what I knew, but there were already courses and classes about how to grow on YouTube. I was not a YouTube expert. Like, you could look at my numbers. He has 10,000 followers. He's not a YouTube expert. There's people with millions of followers out here, right? Why not go buy from them if you really want to grow on YouTube, right? But there's a reason that they bought from me, because it was me. They knew me. I was going to tell my story of how I was able to do it. I wasn't the I'm still not the best teacher when it comes to YouTube, right? But people will still go and buy it because it's me. So I want you guys to know that you are special. You are unique. Um, Relaxing Slumber says, where can I get Christian instrumental music that I could use for my videos? I tried Fiverr, but no luck. I know Epidemic Sound is a place that I use a lot for my YouTube videos. It's royalty free content, and there's a whole library. That's the one that comes off the top of my mind. George, are you familiar with any sites for royalty free music?
Outside of like SoundCloud, well, SoundCloud, there's some stuff you got to pay for. There's one that I used to use called, I think it's called Tone Take or TakeTones.com. I think it was called TakeTones.com, and it's like basically different tones and stuff that you can get in different genres. It's nothing but instrumentals, but it's like different genres and stuff that they have that you can get royalty-free music as well. So that's the only one that I know of. Outside of that, that's pretty much it. And I actually went there because I was looking for stuff for my intro and outro for my YouTube channel that I was going to be creating.
Did I hear you say you're creating a YouTube channel? Oh, I won't go down there.
I am.
Okay.
I'm coming.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
I put in the chat too on YouTube at David Hunt, because I believe David does a lot of instrumentals on YouTube, so definitely check him out as well. If you guys have questions for George, ask them away while I have him here. I got to shout out Bradley because I had to refresh Facebook. Good to see Bradley over here on Facebook. George, remember that story I was telling you before we jumped on live about the income off that one site?
Yeah.
That dude right there, Bradley's a beast. Bradley's a beast with it. Yeah. You got to connect with Bradley on Facebook for graphics and stuff. Bradley's a beast. Bradley's part of my mastermind community too. What's crazy is about that community, and what I've been learning too, George, is like different price tiers bring in different types of people, and it seems like those people, because I'm big on that execution piece. Like, I don't even see everybody in my mastermind on a weekly basis. Like, because it was weekly, and then I ended up having to change it to bi-weekly just to kind of make my schedule life look a little bit more balanced. But I don't even see them on a bi-weekly. But like, their results are just ridiculous when you implement something, like not just trying to spend all day trying to figure out all the nuts and bolts and everything. They're just like showing up and just doing it. Can you kind of help some people with like the showing up, like not how to get over this perfection piece? Because like when I go live earlier today, I'm like, I told y'all straight up, look, I ain't worried about no technicals tonight. I just want to get some information out here. Help people get over this like perfection thing to show up, because I'm big on this video piece.
Perfection. Listen, no one and nothing's ever going to be perfect, right? It's just not going to happen. And all perfectionism does is paralyze you. Because think about it, like Dr. Dre, he's known as a perfectionist, but he has an album that was called Detox that was supposed to be released like 10 years ago, and it's been done, but he doesn't like different things that he hears, so he's just never released it. And it's perfectionism. I mean, just think of all the millions of dollars. I mean, it's not like he's a billionaire anyway, but when you are trying to perfect something, even when you put it out, someone's going to say, oh, I really wish it would have had this. Or you might go back and be like, oh, I should have put this in there, right? You're never going to perfect it. So the thing about it is that, especially in the digital age, that I love about our age that we're in, Monte, is that I can release something. And if I'm like, man, I should have added this, I could just go and add it. I could just record a video, 2-3 minutes, 5 minutes, however long, add it to my stuff, and literally be right on my way. So don't let perfectionism like keep you stuck. You could be paralyzed with perfectionism unnecessarily. So if you're gonna like go out, just go out and do it. You need to make the mistakes to learn. That's how people learn anyway. That's how you can become a strategist, because you could say, here's how you avoid this. This is a mistake that I made. Because believe it or not, when you make the big money by overcoming problems, right? Because then when you overcome one, you know how to fit, you know how to solve it. So if you want to continue to make money, you want to continue to be valuable, go and make some more mistakes, because it's those things that you're going to go out, and there's people that have already got a YouTube channel, they've already got an Instagram page, but they're stuck. They're like, Monte, I've been stuck at 15,000 for 3 years. George, I've been stuck at 7,000 followers for the last 2.5 years. I'm stuck. What do I need to do? You're looking through it, you're going through it, like, hey man, here, I found it. So what you need to start doing is this and this. You keep releasing this same content, you keep doing the same thing, and you just told me all this stuff that you know, and I don't see any of that in your content. Yet it was really good stuff that you just told me about. So it's easy once you start to like overcome that, to go out and consult, strategize, and stuff with other people, and they will pay you a premium for it, because people desperately want to get unstuck. And so the only way that you're going to do that is by making more mistakes. The only way that you're going to make more mistakes is avoiding being a perfectionist. So that's what I would say about that.
If y'all don't show up and get on video and start running your mouth about what it is that you know, gee, look, I had to go off screen real quick because I had to bring up my mistake. So this is, I don't know if you know what this is, George, but this is this is my first brand deal. I will never sell this microphone. This is my first brand deal, right? Company reached out to me and they saw my video and they said, hey, we want to send you a microphone for a YouTube channel to review. I'm like, cool. A company wants to work with me. Awesome, right? Take it out the box, George. I record the video. I think I did a pretty decent job, right? Upload the video and I go through and I start reading the comments. Your microphone is backwards. Then the company was like, next time, turn the microphone around. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm the tech guy and I messed up. That hurt me, George. I messed up. But the company, they were cool with the fact I just did the video.
Yeah.
So cool that they sent me 6-7 more of their microphones later in the year, George. But it was all because of a mistake. I literally turned the microphone the wrong way. And so the mistake not only led to this microphone, but I can't reach it. I've got other microphones, I'll just put it that way, in this room. So the one mistake, if I would have taken the video down, George, it would have hurt me. Yeah. Leaving the mistake up publicly, and those that y'all follow me, y'all see all this stuff that keeps getting stacked up. I got a box of 60 some items in this thing behind me. The mistakes have helped fuel the growth of what it is that I do. So make mistakes. You'll be okay.
Okay. I promise it'll be fine.
Yeah. New Life Christian Center Ministries has said, hey, Monte. Oh, that's Sharon. What's going on, Miss Sharon? Good to see you here on YouTube. Relax and Slumber says, thank you for your help. Both of you. Thanks for the encouragement because I was feeling stuck. I understand YouTube is a marathon, not a sprint. Absolutely. YouTube is a marathon. And I tell people when they get into it, the hardest part about YouTube is hitting the record button. That is the hardest part. Optimizing videos, I can show you that in like 20 minutes. Like, what do I create a video on? I can show you that in probably 5 minutes. Hitting the record button and the upload button, those are the hardest parts of YouTube. It's that consistency part. And that's something that I can't teach. Like I'd send people to Glenn for something like that. Because like he'll help you get past mindset hurdles and all that stuff. Like I don't do that stuff. I'm gonna teach you the technicals of it, and that's the technicals of it. It's hitting the record button and hitting the upload button. Nikki says, thank you for the kick in the butt. No problem, Nikki. Nikki's my homie. Nikki's my homie. So we all need a good kick in the butt sometimes and that's what we all do. You know, George has a coach. I have a coach, you know, and coaches kick you in the butt to help you get to where you ultimately want to go. All right, George, where can they find you? What you got going on? How can they connect with you? All that good stuff.
So, man, you can find me on Instagram under Mr. Monetize Everything. Mr. MR Monetize Everything. That's where you can find me on Instagram. On Twitter or Clubhouse is Mr. George Pitts. I used to be Mr. George Pitts on Instagram until that account was deleted by Facebook. So, and they deleted my Facebook account too. So if you see a friend request from me, it wasn't that I unfriended you. I lost both of my accounts. They took my personal account and my Instagram account. So I lost like everybody. It's crazy. So you can find me on there. Right now, I'm working on a couple of things. I just did a webinar. What is this? October. So I did one in September where I was teaching people how I grew my page to 20,000 followers. What I did was strategies, breaking them down, giving you examples, going to different pages and showing you. So you could definitely check that out. If you go to my Instagram page, there's a link in my bio. It'll take you to my IG growth webinar replay. You can go and watch that and learn all the strategies that I use to grow my page. You can also check out my Income Academy, where we have different courses and trainings on finding your niche and your target audience. How to grow your Instagram page. We've got, one on creating a digital course, which I'm revamping right now. I've got one more module to record, and then I'm getting that to my team to get ready. And then it's going to be literally one of the best, courses that I've ever released before. So I'm really excited about that. So we've got some really cool things. If you're an online entrepreneur, aspiring entrepreneur, or anything like that, definitely check out my Income Academy. We have several different courses that are quality, that literally can help you in so many different areas of your business to get to the next level.
Awesome. Appreciate it. Y'all make sure y'all follow George. I put his website, Instagram, and Facebook, and on YouTube, of course. And all of my Facebookers, come start watching me on YouTube because I like YouTube better. Appreciate y'all. Look, sometimes I'm just too blunt with them because I get paid to show up here. So the Facebook don't pay me. So YouTube pays me to show up and like help people. I was like, hold on. When you start, I was like, okay, hold on. This is how this works. If I come on this platform, they pay me to talk about stuff and help people. Oh, okay, I can do that all day, every day. So I appreciate you, George, for showing up here, and I'm definitely gonna have you back again because I like you. I mean, no other reason, like, because I don't care what they say. Like, I like it because this is my time to have conversations with people and catch up with people and learn from people. And I think it's I don't like doing like the true structured show. I'm like, man, if I bring on George once a quarter, I'm like, there's gonna be something that you can drop for people because you came and you did some affiliate stuff for my mastermind people. They still talk about that, and different like pieces of information that are valuable and that you can actually use, and I'm big on that. So appreciate you. Appreciate MelonApp, our sponsor. They allow us to do this, otherwise I'd be watching Monday Night Football right now. But they have partnered with me to show up here and bring you guys some value, bring on special guests that are they're really out here to help you get to your goals. Like, legit, they've got the knowledge to help you. And I don't say that like guru status. Like, these people like are good people that like we've been in the trenches. Like, we ain't that far ahead of y'all, where we don't understand your struggle. Like, we understand what it is like to, because like, I don't know if y'all realize, like, when George goes off camera, like, his son's in the background. Like, we know his son's going to be in the background. Like, but some people let that stop them from doing what it is that they do. No, just roll with it and keep on going. Like, we understand how this works, and we don't hide the fact that this is part of what it is. So George is an awesome guy. So you guys definitely check him out on his social medias, connect with them. I know he's doing webinars all the time because George, you be selling out webinars. I had to hit the jealousy spirit. I'm like, George selling out these webinars all the time.
I got one coming November 1st. We're going to be teaching courses as well. So that's coming too. Oh, it's out there. People can actually register for it now.
That's the $1 one, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
$1.
Okay, y'all make sure y'all check it out. If you're trying to get into some course creation, check that out. Yeah, Nikki gave me the $20 super chat. Appreciate it. George, you got to get on YouTube.
I'm going to, man. Like I said, I got to get my setup right, man. I got to get my setup. I got to get me a better quality camera.
You don't need none of that, George. You don't need none of that. Start with what you got. You know how it
Right.
is.
Here I go with the perfectionism.
I know.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. You starting it. Start with what you got. Share your knowledge. Long form. You want to do long form anyway. You got a little Kansas City helmet back there. You got Kobe behind you. I mean, what more do you need? What more do you
You're
need?
right. You're right.
So,
You're right.
but yeah, YouTube's an awesome platform. So shout out to all my super chatters. Shout out to MelonApp. Again, go check them out, melonapp.live. If you're looking to start live streaming, and even if you have been live streaming for a little while, if you just need an easy to use platform, definitely check them out. I appreciate all you guys for hanging out with me and George tonight. And I look forward to seeing you next Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on YouTube and also on Facebook. But definitely mark your calendars, and we'll be here every single week. You guys have an awesome rest of your evening, and we'll talk soon.